Here I am with Beowulf from the legendary tale of Beowulf. Now, Beowulf, how do you feel your own character development reflects on the classic plotline of a hero's journey?
I am the very embodiment of a hero's journey. I experience a call to action when I cross the sea with my men in order to slay the beast, Grendel. When that task is complete, I descended into the underworld in order to best his mother. When I grow older, I eventually pass my torch onto my trusted companion Wiglaf. All of these events fall perfectly in line with a hero's journey.
That's very interesting. So, religion plays a big role in your story, mainly Christianity versus paganism. Can you think of any examples of this?
Of course, religion plays a huge role in my story. I myself are an originally pagan hero, but I was used as a tool for conversion by Christian missionaries from the Roman Empire. Because of this historical background, conflict between the two ideologies present in my story, Grendel is seen as a pagan monster, while I myself am blessed with the power given by God, which gave me the strength to best the pagan beast.
It's very interesting. Now, tell me, what values were important to the Geats and the Geatettes?
Above all else, strength and cunning. In a society that was defined by survival of the fittest, it was killed or be killed for the Norse people. People respected you for your strength, something which I had plenty of.
So, the writer of Beowulf used a lot of kennings, caesaras, and media res, and alliteration. Can you share some examples of this?
Yes, my favorite Caesara is from line 635. I feel no shame with the shield and sword. A good kenning for a dragon slayer is hoary rock that was present in line 665. And my favorite alliteration comes from line 774. He drove through the dragon's deadly fumes.
Very impressive. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the group before we end the interview?
No.
Hi again. This time I'm here with the monk from the Canterbury Tales. Hi there, monk. Now, what can you tell us about the historical significance of your character in regard to the Canterbury Tales, but also in regard to history?
I represented what some were beginning to fear of the church at the time. I am greedy, wealthy, and indulge in many luxuries, not very pious. This is a problem that the church had at the time. Many church officials took money from the people in the name of God. This is an apparent problem with many other religious characters and the Canterbury Tales.
Now, what were people's views of the church at the time, and how has it changed over the course of history?
People depended on the church for many things at the time: protection, social circles, and explanations for what was going on at the time. Now, religion is not as prominent as it was, but the church still has a vital part of many people's lives.
Now, Chaucer had a unique position in terms of his relationship with the church. How did this position allow him to criticize the church?
Geoffrey Chaucer was a diplomat and had a very unique view on the church. He was able to criticize the church because of his status as a diplomat. He saw the sides of the church that the normal person did not.
That's very interesting. Thank you for your time. Is there anything you'd like to share with the group before we close this interview?
No.
Hi, all. Here I am with Jane Eyre. Nice to meet you, Jane.
Nice to meet you too.
Now, what happened in Bronte's famous novel, Jane Eyre?
Well, the story is based upon myself, Jane Eyre. I grew up in a horrible boarding school after being abandoned by my step-parents and growing up to be the governess of Mr. Rochester's estate. After a time, he falls in love with me. Well, why wouldn't he? And after more time, I with him.
That's really beautiful. In what ways and for what reasons are you portrayed as an outsider?
Well, I'm considered an outsider because of the way I act, and the things that I do are not common of the lady of the Victorian times. For example, when I was young and lived with my aunt, my cousin was bullying me and he tried to hit me with a sword. I then struck him back in self-defense. But because I was a girl, and that time wasn't the best for us, I was punished and sent to the Red Room.
That is too bad. Now, consider Jane and Rochester's relationship. So, your own relationship. What do they have in common? What do you have in common with Mr. Rochester? How did you establish a relationship? Is your relationship even plausible?
Above all else, myself and Mr. Rochester are very intelligent individuals, and we value that in each other. Neither of us have very much regard of what society thinks is right. And I do believe that in the end, it was the individuality mentally that brought us together. However, realistically, our relationship would never have been possible at that time in human history.
And what social norms were broken exactly?
Normally, a wealthy nobleman like Edward Rochester would never fall in love with a simple governess like me. More than this, we would never have been able to get married.
So, do you feel that your own personality matches well with Gilbert and Gubar's monster and angel theory?
Oh, there's no doubt that I match up with Gilbert and Gubar's monster and angel theory. I have that angel in me. I'm pure, submissive, dispassionate, the perfect woman, men might say. Until they see my monster side, how I'm passionate about some things and I'll stand up for what I believe in. And I talk out against things. All the things men hate.
Now, do you believe that socioeconomics should decide who you can love?
Absolutely not. We are not loveless machines. A man and a woman should love to be together, not for wealth.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for your insightful conversation.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything to the group before we end this interview?
Hi.
Here we are, one last time, this time with Elizabeth Bennett in the studio. Now, Elizabeth, I'm very curious to know, what are your thoughts on marriage during your time period?
Marriage during my time period was very quick. People married and not love. They just wanted to make sure that for the rest of their life they were set. What girls didn't. What most girls did though was they wanted to marry the first guy they met. That way, they could go and live a happy life.
So, now do you believe that socioeconomics should decide who you love?
Definitely not. Your socioeconomic status should not decide who you love. Although many ladies in my time period would marry for economic reasons, they do not actually love each other and usually will end up not happy.
It's very interesting. Now, what are your thoughts on the social classes of your era?
The social class system of the time is corrupt and ungodly. It's hard for lower class people to move up, and when we do, we are met with harsh opposition. The way my family moved up the ladder was with marriage, but it was frowned upon, mostly by Lady Catherine, who said that people will shun Mr. Darcy and I.
Now, thank you so much for your time.